We begin this morning with the attack on the Ukrainian capital, Kyiv. Authorities there say several buildings have been hit in the city center in the early morning. Drone strikes. Ukrainian forces say they managed to shoot down 13 Iranian-made Shahed drones, similar to those used in other Russian strikes across the country. Our correspondent Max Tsanda is in Ukraine's capital and joins us. Max, those blasts are being reported this morning in Kyiv. What more can you tell us?
Right, Terry. So the city was pretty much woken up at 5 minutes to 6 by air raid alarms, and then 20, 30 minutes later, we could hear some relatively loud explosions, some big bangs. Now, it turns out those were that was the Kyiv air defense operating, shooting down some drones that made it from the Sea of Azov region into the city and to the vicinity of the capital here. So 13 Shahed drones in total were downed, and thankfully there were no direct hits to the city. Nobody got injured, nobody got hurt, but as far as we know, a number of administrative and residential buildings were damaged, but that is likely due to shrapnel that occurred while they were being intercepted.
Now, the Russian attacks have destroyed much of Ukraine's infrastructure, leaving many people without power, without water, without heating in the winter. Now, this suffering caused by Russia's invasion, Max, has captured the world's attention. International donors gathered in Paris, pledging billions of euros in aid. We're going to take a quick look at this report.
A kickabout in the dark. For these kids in Kyiv, it's become the new normal. With battery-powered lights and the goals, their training can start. A game of football during a wartime blackout.
Sometimes it's a bit scary, but we're getting used to it. We go into the underground when there's a bomb alert. Otherwise, it's okay.
In the Ukrainian capital, winters are harsh. A lot of snow has fallen and many households are without electricity. In Paris, Olena Zelenska, the wife of Ukraine's president, was welcomed at an international donor conference. Hosted by French President Emmanuel Macron, representatives from 70 countries and international organizations got together to try and help Ukraine through a winter of Russian attacks. In his opening remarks, Macron condemned Putin's strategy in the strongest terms.
These strikes, which Russia openly admits are designed to break the resistance of the Ukrainian people, are war crimes.
Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky told the conference what his country now needs most urgently.
We expect new Russian strikes every day, which will increase the number of power shutdowns. That's why generators and uninterrupted power sources have now become as important as armored vehicles and bulletproof vests.
At the end of the day, pledges amounted to more than 1 billion euros. Germany will give 50 million euros with generators and other technical equipment supposed to arrive in Ukraine before Christmas. Money alone doesn't save people from dying of hunger or thirst. That's why concrete technical support is so important. We don't just need financial aid, we also need generators, transformers, cables. Equipment that is instrumental for restoring the electricity and water supply, to ease at least some of the hardship that Ukrainians continue to suffer.
Max, those Russian attacks on Ukraine's infrastructure, they're obviously aimed at breaking the country's will to fight. Do you get a sense that the hardship suffered by the Ukrainian people is grinding down their resolve?
So, Terry, it's absolutely true. Russia is pounding the civilian infrastructure, pounding Ukrainian cities pretty hard, and they've been quite successful at doing so. They've been able to take out large parts of the grid, large parts of the centralized heating, and people are suffering due to that. It's quite cold here in Ukraine right now. People are dealing with power outages, with loss of heating, and in some cases, loss of water. But that being said, it does not seem that the Russians are succeeding in what they're trying to do to bring the Ukrainian population down to its knees. It's quite the opposite of what we can see here right now. People are actually helping themselves, helping each other. If you look at small businesses, even the smallest mom and pop shops, corner stores, coffee shops have generators now. People are dining in candlelight. People at home are buying large batteries, large power banks to power their devices. And some are even utilizing car batteries to help themselves. And it really seems that these recent attacks and the situation, even if it becomes harder, is not really changing the attitude of people towards this war, and they seem very resilient and determined to outlast this and to eventually win.
Well, to keep the resilience strong, the international community is providing a lot of aid. As we just saw in the report, international donors have just pledged €1 billion in financial aid for Ukraine. Is that enough, Max, to address the country's most urgent needs right now?
Well, it is certainly a start. At the moment, a quarter of the population is without adequate power, without adequate heating. So what the country needs right now are certain things. They need high-capacity generators. They need resources to fix the grid. They need imports of gas and imports of electricity. So this could mean this could be a start, yes, but in addition to that, also military equipment is needed, spare parts for artillery, heavy weapons, and above all, air defense systems to make the rest unnecessary, to close the skies and protect the infrastructure and protect cities from Russian attacks.
Max, thank you very much. Our correspondent Max Chanda there in the Ukrainian capital, Kyiv. Well, German Chancellor Olaf Scholz has hailed European unity in response to Russia's war on Ukraine. Addressing lawmakers in the German parliament this morning, the Chancellor said efforts to sow divisions within the bloc would fail. That was an apparent reference to Hungary, which earlier this week blocked a European Union loan to Kyiv before later dropping its opposition. Scholz pledged to stand by Ukraine with offers of money, aid, and weapons.
The Russian war of aggression on Ukraine is a challenge for EU cohesion. But this challenge is one we have taken on head-on. And together, we are strong. Since the 24th of February, Ukraine has joined forces in an unprecedented manner, and the German government has worked hard on this. We have supported our partners, and we have been supported by them. And this is European solidarity in the flesh.